What's happening, Tyrone?
Hey,
Welcome to
what's up, E? Eric, my man, what's happening?
man, I'm here. Welcome to In and Out Podcast, man. We done finally made it happen.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I enjoy being here.
Yeah, we've been working
Yeah,
on it for a minute, man.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. We have.
finally we was able to sit down and
Yeah,
get you on In and Out Podcast and share your story with the world.
yeah. That's a good thing, man.
That's what's up. So
Yeah.
it's good to have you. We got Tyrone Stephens on In and Out Podcast, good friend of mine and one of the legendary humans in this world. He hasn't told the story too many times, but he's here to tell it today.
Yeah.
So Ty, tell me about how you grew up. Number one, where'd you grow up, and what was your life like growing up as a kid?
Well, I grew up in Detroit, on the east side of Detroit, where I was born at. And that's where mostly everybody went to. The blacks went to the east side first, and then we moved over, when I was about 3-4 years old to southwest Detroit. It's in Detroit, but it's on the southwest side. So it was a great experience in Detroit, man. Great experience, growing up. Mm-hmm.
What was your life like? Did you have how many siblings do you have? Did you grow up with both your parents, or how did that go?
I grew up with both of my parents. I grew up with 2 brothers, 2 sisters. Well, actually 3 brothers. One passed. 3 brothers and 2 sisters. Yeah.
Where did you fall? Were you the oldest? Were you in the middle, or were you the youngest?
I was in the middle. I was in the middle. I had 2 brothers older than me. I had 2 older brothers. Yeah. So that gave me an advantage. Didn't nobody mess with me in the neighborhood. I had 2 older brothers. That was pretty tough. Yeah.
What was school like for you? Did you enjoy going to school? What type of kid were you?
Well, actually, I wasn't a bad kid. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I was. I was a problem kid. I was a problem kid. I stayed in a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? I was always doing something. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't think I was bad. I think I had some emotional problems. You know what I'm saying? Because we had a lot of, growing up, there was a lot of, confusion in the household, mother and father fighting and, that sort of thing. So that carried me off into a lot of despondent, when I should have been focusing in, like on schoolwork or something, I'm thinking about something else, Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Were your parents, were they big on school and education?
They were big on it, but they didn't talk about it a lot. You know what I'm saying? It was almost like you know what to do, so you do it. You know what I mean? It was like one of those things. It wasn't consistently saying, "Hey, now you going to college."
Right.
It wasn't that sort of thing. You know what I mean? They meant that, but they just didn't express that. Yeah.
What type of job did they have? What was your parents' occupations as far as your mother and your father?
Well, my dad worked in General Motors, Fleetwood, where they made Cadillacs at. Yeah. He worked there.
Okay. And during that time, a lot of women were housewives at that time. I know my
Yeah,
mom was a housewife.
and my mom, she worked a little bit. She worked in in the big department store called Hudson's. She was the elevator operator. Then they had the elevators. They operated themselves. You know what I mean? So so she worked there a little bit. Mm-hmm.
When you say you was getting into when you was getting it like you was a trouble kid, or you was always getting into stuff. What age are we talking about? What type of trouble were you getting into? Was this like trouble with the law, or just trouble in school?
Well, trouble in school. Well, after the 3rd grade, when I got into about the 4th grade, I just shut down. You know, I was smart, but I just shut down because I was always thinking about what was going on in the house, and I didn't like this. You know what I'm saying? There's some violence, and you know what I mean. So things were messing with my head. You know what I mean? Yeah. So after the 4th grade, I just coasted. I never did study or nothing. I never failed because I always cheated on the test. Write something on my hand. I was always into something, man. And then I caught my first case. I think I was 9 years old.
Wow.
I shook down a paper boy. Took his money. That was my first case.
Was it just you didn't have a weapon or anything?
I didn't have a weapon. They considered it an unarmed robbery.
Wow.
Yeah, at that
As a
time,
juvenile.
9 years old. Yeah. So they didn't take me to juvenile, but they put it on my record from the police
At
station.
9 years old.
At 9 years old, yeah. Mm-hmm.
What happened? How did your parents respond to that?
Well, I got a whooping and all that. You know what I'm saying? I used to get, whoopings from my daddy. Not whoopings, back then it was kind of like beatings. You know what I'm saying? It was like, I ain't gonna do it no more, Dad. You know what I'm saying? As soon as he turned his head, I'm back doing the same thing, So, yeah.
How long did that last for? Where you did you ever rob anybody else, or did you what did you?
Oh, yeah.
After 9 years old, did you continue to get into trouble, or?
I continue to get in trouble, yeah. But each time, I think I got a little slicker. I guess the first time that I started getting away with some trouble was my mama sent me to the store to go buy some lunch meat. I think I was maybe 8 or 9. And she said, get 3 slices of lunch meat from me. So a Jewish fella, they own the stores mostly, Jewish and Polacks. They own the stores in the black community at that time. And so she said she want 3 slices of lunch meat put on her bill. So he had to go around on the other side to get the lunch meat. So there's a box of bubble gum right there. Just a bunch of bubble gums. I got no money, you know what I'm saying? So I grabbed a handful of them, put them in my pocket. And when he come back, he must have knew something, because I was telegraphing. I was like, well, I was excited. I didn't know what to do. That's the first time I was told something. I was, oh my God, And so he knew something. So after that, I got on my bike, and I rode home fast as I could. Went straight back to the backyard. Hid the bubble gum. Come in the house. My mother said, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "Nothing." You know what I'm saying? And she knew something was wrong,
Just by the way you were acting.
Yeah, the way I was acting, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause it was this big thing, you know what I'm saying? It was like I discovered something, And so I go back out there where I hid the bubble gum, and I'm chewing bubble gum. I said, yeah, okay, it's on. You know what I'm saying? So I started going back there. I said, well, my mother said, put 2 slices of lunch meat on a bill, and she'll pay you. So he started telling me, so okay, come on, go with me back here. So I know he was hip to me then, So yeah.
So that ended the stealing the bubble gum.
Well, from him.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But that started, I had to get a little more slicker now, Had to do something a little different,
Do you think at that time you knew it was wrong, or how did you feel? What did you think about taking the bubble gum from the guy that owned the store?
I guess I didn't feel nothing about it, like it was wrong. I didn't feel that way, and I would imagine a lot of that was because there was so much stuff going on in the household, with my dad, on the weekends, and so much violence going on that, I just, I thought that was wrong.
What was going on in your household?
Yeah, right. You know what I mean? So what I was doing, I'm trying to do something to keep from thinking about that, you know, because that was a problem to me, you know.
Did you, when you did little things like that, was it something that you think you might have got from someone else, your friends, or was it just something that came to your own head?
Well, I think that that was sort of some sort of relief, you know, because that, like I said, what I was going through in the household was devastating. You know, when your mom and dad is fighting, you know what I mean, and you know, and you know, a lot of violence going on. I mean, that's on a kid. That's really tough. That's really tough, you know.
Right.
Yeah. So and then it gave me a certain attitude about women. You know what I mean? Although as much as I hated, you know, what my dad was doing, you know, I kind of like, you know, picked up some of those traits, you know, yeah, so to speak, you know. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
as you got older, were you still just showing up to school? Did you finish high school? Did you graduate, or what was that
Well,
period like?
no, I didn't finish school. Quit school probably in the 9th grade. They sent me to an all-boys school because I was bad in high school, and they sent me to an all-boys school, you know what I mean? And so I went there. I think I was 15, and you know, you had to go to school until you got 16 at that time. You know, so I was 15, but I stopped going to school at 15. You know, because they didn't truant officers. They didn't come to my house. You know, they didn't care nothing about what was going on. You know. So then I went and got a GED later. But you know, yeah.
What did you do when you quit school? Were you still living at home?
Yeah, but I was leaving out like I was going to school every day. So I'd go up to the pool room, hang out, you know, or me and some more guys who were doing the same thing, you know, we'd go somewhere and we'd go stealing or something, you know what I mean? So I was into some shit, to say the least. You know what I mean? Yeah, I was into some stuff.
What type of stuff were y'all stealing then?
At that time, you know, we would go into a clothing store, you know, steal, you know, a sweater, you know what I mean, something like that. When I was younger, we would steal cakes and pies and stuff like, you know, just anything we could get our hands on, you know. Mm-hmm.
Did you ever, you and your friends, did y'all ever, when y'all started stealing clothes or whatever, did y'all just do it to wear, or did you start making money off of the clothes?
We were doing it to wear, yeah, not to sell, but to wear, yeah. Because, I mean, you know, guys in the neighborhood that I was hanging with, you know, I mean, you just couldn't buy, you know, the stylish stuff at that time because, you know, your parents didn't have that kind of money. You know, it gave you something to go to school in, you know,
right.
And that's it. When you come home, you change your school clothes and put on your raggedy clothes.
Right.
You know what I mean? That sort of thing. So, no, But, no, not we wasn't hustling it like that, you know, at that time, you know.
Did you, as you got a little older, what type of things did you do? Did you ever work a serious job? Like, how did you start making money once you got tired of school and stuff like that?
Well, my first hustle where I started making some money is that I think I was 16, and we started robbing. You know, I got with this older guy. He's about 23, and so we started sticking up. We'd go into bars, you know, when they got their paycheck at night. It was, you know, we thought we went in mostly white bars, and we stuck everybody up in there. It'd be 2-3 of us, and we stick everybody up in there on payday. So we started, and that was a dangerous situation, you know. And the police was looking for us, you know, to really they was looking for us. They was gonna hold court in the street. Said, we catch these. Other words, they said, we catch these niggas, we gonna kill them in the street.
Wow.
You know, and you know, I didn't know that then, and I mean, you know, but I knew it was a dangerous mission because every time before we get ready to do this robbery, I'd have to go to the restroom, do number 2. You know, my stomach was so intense, man. I mean, you know, then after that, I said, okay, let's go.
Then you'll be ready to go.
I'm ready to go.
So it was a older young man. You was basically just a teenager.
I was
16, 17.
I was 16.
And he put you on your first robbery?
Yeah, he did. The older guy and me and another youngster. Yeah.
Did y'all have guns when y'all went in there?
Yeah.
It was a real robbery.
Yeah, it's a real robbery. I had and he had been this dude had been the older guy had been in the military before. He was
oh wow.
He was a police officer, MP.
MP.
So he knew about guns and you know and all that. So I stole my grandfather's gun. I was staying at my grandfather's house and I stole his gun. He had one of them 1911 45s. I mean, you hit a sucker with that, boy. It's like sledgehammer. You knocking him out. I mean, this is steel. Man. This is whoo, you know. So and I didn't know how to put it together. It was all loose, and so he put it together like you know. So that's we must have hit about 9 of them before we got called. Then I started dressing. I started having money, and you know what I mean. I was hanging out, you know, where the slicksers hang out at. You know, they was pimps and gamblers, and you know what I'm saying. I'm just a little dude. I got some money. I got, you know, back then, you know, if you had $100, you had big money. They was making $90-something a week in the factory, you know. So you know, when I got my split, I had, you know, maybe a couple hundred, 300, you know what I mean, like that, you know. So I told my grandfather like I was gambling, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so yeah, that's how that happened.
What did he tell you the first time to convince you to do the robbery? Do you remember how he convinced you, or how much he told you he was going to make?
I don't remember exactly how that went, you know, but I was pretty much, he didn't have to say too much to me because I was pretty much game for anything. I was telling him, I mean, because I had broken a couple stores before, I was telling him, you know, but little did I know that he had a bout with some more young people a couple years before that, you know what I'm saying? A year or two before that, you know. So I didn't, and it didn't make me no difference, you know. And he saved my life one day too, during the robbery.
Wow, during the robbery?
During the robbery, you know. We was in there, we robbing everybody in there. There's just 15, 20 people in there. They all got their paychecks, you know, 'cause the bartenders cashing their checks, you know.
Oh, this
so
is the bar?
Yeah, we stick the bar.
Stick up the whole bar?
Yeah. So I was the one to go in there and get the bartender, get his attention. I want to get a pack of cigarettes. Then when them two step in, as soon as they step in, we know that the bartender got a pistol. We know he got one. So my job was to get him. So I got him, and this dude, it was a police officer in there, off duty. And he was in there with his wife. It was his anniversary. And he was easing, we had him stooped down. He was easing up here and got his hand on that pistol, and my man, the older cat, caught it. He said, if you breathe hard, I'll blow your MF head off. You know what I mean? And take your hand out there mighty slow. He reached in there, got his pistol in his badge. Oh, you're a police officer. I should kill you. Oh, please. You know, he begged for his life, you know, but he wasn't finna kill him. He was just saying that, you know. And, yeah, so that was, and a year later, I was in prison.
Did you?
Huh?
Was it related to that?
Yeah, it related to all those robberies we got
Okay.
busted. You know? And that same police, a year later, was in the bar the same day, anniversary, and another kid, 2 other kids coming there to stick it up. That we knew, and he killed him.
The police officer killed him.
Yeah, the police officer.
Right.
I mean, he acted real fast then. You know what I mean? Because he knew the move. You know. Yeah. So it was. Yeah.
What was the largest stick-up you ever did at that time? Or I would say, like,
I was,
the most dangerous one that you did back then?
Well, the danger, every time I went in that bar with 15, 16 people, that was dangerous.
You robbed the same bar?
No. We went to different bars.
Different bars, okay.
You know, every weekend. You know.
That was
so
your
all
job.
that was dangerous. And then the robbery squad, which was downtown, they looking for us. Because at this time, we didn't rob 8, 9 different places. We catch them, we gonna hold court in the street. You know, because it so happened that I hit somebody with the pistol several times because they wasn't lining up right. I said, "Don't nobody move over there." And he wouldn't move. You know what I'm saying? Crack. You know. But it was either me hit him or shoot him.
Right.
I didn't want to shoot him.
Right.
You know, so and the Pro Board, they wasn't too fond of that.
The Pro Board.
Yeah. Every time I go up, they flop me. You know?
So when you got caught a year later, how much time were you facing?
I took a cop. I got 2.5 to 15.
Was that your first time going to prison?
Yeah.
Was this juvenile or was this adult?
I was waived from juvenile. I was 16. I was waived from juvenile to adult court.
Wow.
Tried as an adult. Yeah.
How was that experience? You going to prison at such a young age?
It was devastating, man. Well, I went to what they call reformatory, but it was a prison. But it was a prison for guys that come in there like at a certain age, under 21, you know. I mean, a lot of guys there who've been there a long time, they're over 21,
right.
You know.
So, how old were you at this time?
I was 16.
Okay.
When I got there, I was 16. No, I had just turned 17 when I got there.
Okay.
Yeah, I got there January 1966.
Wow.
I'll never forget it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was a devastating experience, man. You know, I got in there and started hearing stuff about this and that, you know. And at that time, you know, drugs, you didn't hear about drugs. You just didn't hear, you know. So, you know, I heard things about gambling, you know, then people started getting 20 to 40 for stick-up right after that, 20 to 40 years.
So the law started trying to crack down and give more time.
Yeah. And so I just missed that. I got 2.5 to 15. So
what does that mean? Minimum of 2.5, maximum of 15?
Correct.
You can do anything in between?
Right. Yeah.
So they turned you down for parole the first couple of times?
It turned me down one time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you grew up in it was an all-black neighborhood, and you said East Michigan?
Southwest.
Southwest. Was that Detroit or no?
Yeah, that's Detroit.
Okay.
Southwest Detroit. Like you got the east side, west side, you know, north side.
So you were in the Southwest Detroit?
Southwest side.
And it was all black?
But I was born on the east side, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that, now earlier you said you were robbing, you started with the bubble gum, then you was robbing stores that were owned by white people, Jews. Did it make you feel a little better that you were robbing white people? And when you went into these bars, were they were black or they were white?
White.
The bars was white people?
Yeah.
Wow. So that's why they had a serious task force.
Say the least.
Y'all niggas was bold as hell. Y'all was going and robbing white folk.
Right.
Was that a conscious decision, or is it just that they just had that's where the money was?
Well, at that time, you know, when you did crime, you did it in the white neighborhood. You didn't so much do crime amongst black people.
Well, that's almost a reversal of what it is now, because
Yeah,
these
well, it
dudes,
is a reversal.
they gonna kill a black, with the
Yeah.
black people killing black people, they won't dare touch a white person.
That's true.
Isn't that
But
funny?
it wasn't always like that.
Right. I'm intrigued by that.
Yeah, it wasn't always like that. You went in the white neighborhood, so it was you know and the reason you went there is not because you dislike white folks, is you figure like they had money. You know, I thought all white people was rich. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I didn't know you had poor white people. I didn't know that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I said, you white, you got money. You
Right,
know?
right. So
Yeah.
you went to where the money was. You followed
Yeah,
the money.
Yeah, you know, and so that's how that was, man. You know. Yeah.
So you say that experience in prison was devastating. How so?
It was devastating, man, that I had to, that's the first, I had been to juvenile a couple of times, like, you know, maybe 3-4 days they let me go. 3-4 days they let me go. You know what I'm saying? I've been there a couple of times like that, you know. But this time they waived me from juvenile and then went to adult court, then they sent me to prison. You know?
Right.
So in prison, you know, I couldn't go home, and that's the first time after several months when I realized I wasn't going home. I, you know, 2.5, 15, I was going to have to do, you know, a couple of years. I wound up doing 23 months, you know. So it was devastating, man. That, you know, I was away from home, and you know, I was ready to go home. I couldn't go home. My older brother come to see me, and before that, let me back up a little bit. I remember I used to wear my older brother's clothes. I used to sneak and get his clothes because he was sharp, you know. And I remember going in his pocket and seeing a little piece of syringe, you know. I didn't know what it was then. But when I got in prison, I started hearing people talk. I said, and it made me go back. You know, my brother, is he messing with drugs? And he died of an overdose of drugs while I was in there. You know?
Oh, wow.
So that devastated me and devastated my mother. You know, that was her first child. She had him when she was 14, so they was almost like brothers and sisters, you know.
Right.
Yes, they were so young, you know. And so just being away from home, man, and I knew a couple older cats that were in there that knew my brother, you know, they kind of looked after me, you know what I'm saying, that sort of thing, you know. Yeah.
Wow. So did you have any positive experiences? By that, did you meet people in there that might have, older cats that might have had an influence on you when you was in prison at that young age?
Yeah, I did. You know, I met a couple guys. You know, I used to sit around here and talk. You know what I'm saying, about, you know, different things. You know, how to get money. You know, pimping and gambling and, you know, hustling, playing con and all this kind of stuff. You know, so I would listen to them. But I know I didn't want to go back.
Back to prison?
No more. Especially with robbery, because they're giving you 20 to 40.
Wow.
I got 2.5, 15. And people's coming in after me was coming in with 20 to 40, and they did way less things than what we did. I mean, the stuff what we did, we was going around there taking money from white people. That was a dangerous mission, to say the least.
Right.
That's why the police officer said, we gonna hold court in the street. We killing these niggas if we catch them. And they look for us high and low, man.
Wow, they wasn't gonna play with you.
Yeah. They look for us high and low, man, just by the grace of God. You know, because I didn't really know what I was doing.
So you didn't, you in your mind when you was in there, you said you wasn't gonna commit any more crimes.
Yeah, I said I wasn't gonna do that. Right.
Did you?
Yeah. Yeah, I did. And I said I wasn't gonna rob nobody, but I did once, and I backed up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because I was working in the factory, you know, lost all my money one day in a crap game, you know, and only thing I knew you could get some money real quick is robbery, you know. And it just so happened we got away, you know what I mean, and but it just wasn't worth it. I backed up from that.
Yeah. Well, don't feel so bad. It's the American way, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
this country grew on robbery. I mean, really, if you really put things in perspective. I mean,
Right.
So when you came home, you got a job at a factory, and so you was trying to do the right thing.
Right. I got married, and so I got shot in the plant. I was working in the plant. Yeah. Matter of fact, I was working in the plant, same plant my dad worked in.
Is that how you got the job?
Yeah. And I come home that Wednesday. That Tuesday, I was in the plant working that Friday.
Okay.
I'm looking to, just hang out a while, and so, working on the line, I'm just standing up all day. That was like, that was almost worse than being in prison. You know what I'm saying? I mean, really, I had to go there, the sun is shining, I had to go in there, man, in that factory. It was, I hated that job.
Wow.
I hated that job, And so I got shot in the plant. Me and a guy, we betted on the World Series in 1968. We bet on the World Series. We bet our paychecks. He wasn't going to pay me, and I wasn't going to pay him.
Okay.
And so, but I won. I said, give me my money.
Right.
See, every time I get hit a couple of cars on the line, I come back. I say, man, you better give me my money. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to press him, right? So the next day, he brought a pistol, When I went to say, hey, give me that money, he upped that joint by this close. I said, hey, man, I'm just bullshitting, man. And I had my hand up like this here, and he shot me right there.
Oh, he actually shot you?
Yeah, shot me right there.
Wow.
I mean, if I didn't have the hand up, it hit me in my heart.
Wow.
And I broke out of that. I was in the paint shop. Broke out that booth. I'm running past the general foreman and the foreman. I said, "Hey, you got a pistol?" You know what I'm saying? I'm getting out of the way. And so I had a suit against General Motors, but we lost.
So what happened next?
What happened next is I got another job for about 3-4 weeks at another plant. Real easy, but then I met a couple buddies of mine, like Big Ron, you know what I'm saying? And they was doing some slick stuff, you know what I mean? So, I got a chance to run with them, you know what I mean? And was driving for them, and next thing I know, I was learning to do what they was doing, So they was doing something that I consider some player stuff, I was just hoodlum. I was a hood, just snatching and grabbing, and you know what I mean, and just lucky that I was just didn't get my head blowed off.
Right.
But when I got with them, they was players. They was gamblers. You know what I'm saying? They was learning the con game, and they had a woman that was doing this and that, boosting and stealing, and all sorts of stuff.
So, you say you was doing like strong arm robberies and stuff like that. Would you consider that these guys they was using their brain more?
Yeah, they were using their brain. Yeah.
And you
so that was the difference between I was doing some hood stuff, they was doing some player stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how we say that back in the day.
Got you. And you like that? I mean, that made an impression on you.
I loved it. And especially when I found out that you can talk to somebody and they give you your money. I had been sticking up. White folks, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And here all I had to do was talk to somebody and they give it to me. It was several months while I was doing that. I didn't even think I thought it was a misdemeanor or something. Shit, I talk to them, they give it to me. I mean, I didn't take nothing from them, physically. Wow. You know what I mean? So, so I put a lot of emphasis on that. I learned all those things, but that particular part is what I put my most thought and time and focus in.
So what did your older friends? What did they tell you when they started teaching you the game, or like, I know they were your people, but how did you get into it, and what was involved in that? This is called a con game.
Yeah, it's called a con game, and learning how to play craps and learning how to play what they call sows. You know what I mean? A sow was somebody who knew how to gamble. You know.
What is it called?
Sow. A sow.
Sow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that was a gambler that knew what he was doing. You know what I mean? So he got the best of the bet. You know, if he bet you, he gonna have the best of the bet. You know what I'm saying?
So it wasn't really a gamble on his part. Not so much.
Not so much. Not so much. Yeah, it could have been. It could have been a proposition. It could have been a straight up, you know, just take. You know, on the smooth side. You know what I mean? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you got into it, and you really liked that. And
Yeah, I
is
did.
that? Would you say you kind of went on another level when you started doing that?
No question about it. You know, after a couple of years, especially after a year or two went by, you know, I got, started traveling around the country. You know, started going to New York. You know, back during that time, if you lived anywhere else, like in them late '60s, you know, if you had some game, you know, you got to go to New York. See, can you put your game down? Because if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. You know, that's what the little thing.
That's where that little
out.
saying came from, huh?
Yeah,
So you went to New York.
Yeah, I went to New York.
Was you going by yourself, or was you
Well,
and your
no,
crew, your boys?
me and Big Ron went.
You and Big Ron.
Yeah, his girl and my girl. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all put together a team.
Yeah.
That was the team.
Yeah, that was the team. Yeah.
How much? What type of money could you make? You know, doing
Well,
that
at
type
that time, you know, well, we was making like 700,000 maybe.
700,000.
No.
Oh.
700 to 1,500 at that time. This is in the late '60s.
Okay.
You know, now 700, 1,500, that ain't bad.
Right, back
People,
then.
Back
right.
then. Because people, you know, in the factory was making in '69, they were making $100, $105, $110
A week.
a week. So if you can get 700 in a week or 1,500,
You
got 6, 7 paychecks.
Wow.
So you wasn't doing too bad. And so then that started escalating as time went on, you know. So.
How often could you do it?
Well, at first, you know, it's like anything else. You had to learn your craft. You had to learn the craft, you know. So at first, like I said, we was getting, you know, 700 a week, maybe once or twice a week, 700, 800, 1,000, you know. That's when we was, you know, we had the girls and, you know, and we would go out to ourselves and we go out gambling. The girls go out hustling the con game, you know what I mean? But they were playing, at that time, they were playing black folks. And, you know, black folks is the most difficult people to deal with. I don't care what you're dealing with them on. I mean, if you're trying to con them, you're trying to work with them, but they're just difficult.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Would you say it's because they don't trust too easy?
You know, they don't. They don't. You know what I mean? And if they got some money, they holding on real tight because they may not get it no more.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so then we switched our game over, like and got about 72. We switched the game over to playing white folks, and that's when I got money.
Wow.
I mean, that stuff went to happening then, you know what I mean? I mean, like, I remember first thing I got first thousands I had, we took a stand, $23,000. Me and the guy had split up $23,000. You know, that was in '72. Cadillac cost, at that time, Cadillac cost $9,000.
Wow.
So I could pay for a Cadillac.
And still
And have a 1,000 or two.
Right.
Yeah.
That put things in perspective.
Yeah, right.
Did you have to change your game when you started dealing with white people?
Yeah, I had to get educated.
How so?
Well, in Harlem, I was living in New York, and in Harlem, the dope fiends were selling everything. Everything but the kitchen sink. They sold the kitchen sinks too. They sold everything. But these are smart dope fiends now. They ain't going out stealing no bullshit because they want to blow. They gonna get something that's really valuable, and say, man, you want. So, guy used to have a box of books. This guy sell books. This is the first time I built up my library. I opened my trunk. I said, put the whole box in there. I don't know what he got in there.
But he was selling books.
He selling books.
He said, give them to me all.
Give them all to him. How much you want for them? Then we negotiate from that point. And so so this is when I started educating myself. Because, I went to the 9th grade and I stopped learning in the 4th. So, I think I might have been at the time, I think I might have been reading at maybe a 5th grade level. But how I learned how to read is I started getting them books in the library and the newspaper, the daily news. Anything had something to do with the con game or something. And back that time, it was full of it. I learned every word it said. I know what it meant. I get the dictionary. I learned how to use that because I know I had to get educated. And I got these books. And I don't know what I'm buying. So I got all kinds of stuff. Kahili Gibran. I got spiritual stuff. First time I started knowing something about spirituality, you know what I'm saying? And so that's how I educated myself.
Would you say, so back then, I guess like in the hood or, a lot of black people obviously didn't have a lot of money back then. Would you say a lot of blacks, most of the blacks in your circle, they were hustling and their hustle was the con game?
No. At that time, the majority of people was hustling. In the late 60s, it was pimping, gambling, and then after starting in the late 60s, 67, after the riot, like in Detroit, or 66, 65 in New York, they start flooding the streets with heroin, the U.S. government.
Flooding the streets with heroin?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What effect did that have?
That made people, whereas they used to go out and take from white folks, now, they selling the drugs to the black dude. Now the black dude say, well, I'll go rob the drug nigga because he can't tell he doing wrong. So that created a lot of dissension amongst black folks. You follow what I'm saying? Because before they didn't have that. Dude who was going out stealing and whatever he was doing in the white neighborhood, he coming back. He was almost like Robin Hood. Hey, you ain't got nothing here, put that in your pocket.
Right.
But now when the drugs hit, that changed the concept of how blacks deal with one another altogether. In my experience.
Right.
Now that's just my opinion. Now somebody else may say something different.
Facts about the government, because a lot of people think that's a conspiracy theory.
What did he say?
The government, is it, in your opinion, people around you, did they have the opinion that like it was the government that was putting drugs on the street, and did you ever have any or see any evidence of that? Like the government was intentionally flooding the neighborhoods with drugs?
Well, let me tell you how that happened. I come home from prison in November 17th, 1967. And I went up to the pool room that day, and people was passing stuff and this and that, and I had never seen that before. It was hand-to-hand combat, but that wasn't in the street when I left. Right. When I left in January of 66, didn't see none of that. But after the riot in 67 in Detroit, U.S. government flooded the streets with heroin via the mafia, okay, through the mafia. Now, I didn't know that at that time until some years later when I started getting in the know and started hearing people. When you start, when you want to know stuff, you get around people that know that kind of stuff, So, yeah. So that, the government did that,
Right.
Because when I come home, when I come home, I'm in the pool room, right? And people passing stuff. I don't know what they're doing. The dude called me over. He said, "Hey, Ty, come here a minute." And he had a little cap. He pulled the cap over. He said, "Put your hand out like this." I put my hand out like that. And he took some white powder. He sprinkled right there. He said, "Sniff that." I turned and gave him my back. But I flipped it over like that. I act like I hit it, but I didn't. I was shaking. I went back to the shooting pool. I said, "Oh, that's what they passing around here," because I seen them passing shit, and I don't know what they're doing. Man,
Right.
I ain't never seen that before. Dudes that had to be in the house when I left when the street lights come on, they passing stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Right.
You know what I mean? So that was what was happening.
So a lot of people started using drugs now in the black community, and a lot of people were selling drugs.
Yeah.
Did you ever get into selling drugs?
Yeah, we gave a guy $500 worth of mixed jive. You know what mixed jive is?
No, I don't.
Mixed jive is heroin that's cut up.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And they mix it with quinine and stuff. They call it mixed jive.
To stretch it, to make more money off.
Yes, yeah, but that was something that you didn't tell nobody then.
Right.
That was like you was cheating them if you did that.
Right.
But then that got to be ordinarily. They'll tell them I got a 5 on it. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So anyway, we give this guy $500 worth a quarter. We bought a quarter of mixed jive. We give it to him. And dude I went to school with, I've been knowing him all my life. He's a big fella in the neighborhood. We come back and get the money. He done gave it all away. He don't have no money. And so, what was I going to do? Kill him? I've been knowing him all my life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I know his mama, sister, brother, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I ain't in that mentality, So I said, Ron, we're going to have to do this ourselves. I see that now. So I went to my grandmother, and my grandmother was a hustler. She sold liquor, like back in, she's born in 1903. 1917, she was down on her own, 14 years old, selling liquor, this and that, So, and then she always, had 3-4 paychecks. She stayed ahead of the game, her and my grandfather. They had 5-6 different paychecks, you know what I'm saying? Because they would have girls over, and they'd be gambling in the basement when the people got paid, you know what I'm saying? So I went to her. I said, Grandma, what about drugs? She said, don't mess with it. I said, well, I'm thinking she's going to tell me how to do it. She said, don't mess with it. I said, why? She said, because everybody I seen that messed with drugs, it's 2 things that happened to them. I said, what's that? She said, they got killed and went to the penitentiary. So I said, shit. Well, if my grandmother say that, don't mess with it, I'm going to do it with my grandmother. So I didn't mess with it no more.
So you never did it?
No more.
Now, I know you said, I want to go back to that. Twice you said the government put the drugs in the neighborhood
Right.
after the riots.
Right.
So do you think that was intentional because of the riots?
Yeah, I think it was intentional because black people at that time were starting to come together. They were starting to get together, They started to have money, because they was working, they was getting the jobs, and and so I think a lot of the riots were created.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for the drugs to come down, you know what I'm saying? So it breaks up the black community. Because drugs, if there's any one thing that broke up the black community, it was drugs.
Wow.
So I think, and I feel, and the information I got, that I can't prove it, but I feel like it was the U.S. government.
Did you see the effects immediately of the neighborhoods going down?
Yeah, I seen all that. You know, particularly because I wasn't in it. By me not being in it,
You was able to
selling
see it.
drugs, I was able, to step back, or to see, if you're in the forest, you can't see the trees for the forest because it's dark. But when
Right.
you step out the forest, so I wasn't in the forest. I'm
Wasn't in
looking.
it, so you was able to see it.
Yeah. And then guys who sold drugs talked to me about a lot of things because they knew I wasn't a drug seller, so they didn't feel no harm with me. But where they didn't talk to everybody else unless it was his partner. So it created, people started getting killed, man, left and right. I was going to a funeral every week.
Wow.
Every week. Yeah.
Now, it was just the drug violence and also maybe overdoses and
Yeah,
stuff.
well, all that, and a lot of that came with a lot of murders and killings came with, you know what I'm saying? It was about sex.
Sex?
Yeah, if your woman giving this guy some action, you know what I'm saying? Niggas would get real jealous about that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So a lot of that was about broads and stuff like that. A lot of it. And some of it was about, you owe me my money. And, they've been watching The Godfather and shit, So kill this nigga if he owe me some money. That's how the game go.
Right.
That's what they think.
Right.
So it's just got way out of hand. And then, that's just my opinion.
Right.
From what I see. If you ask 10 people something, they give you 10
10
different
different opinions, right? All right. Well, yeah. Well, today we valuing your opinion, Tyrone Stephens. So, your grandmother told you to don't fuck with drugs,
Right.
and you were close with your grandmother.
Yes.
She was influential on you, so you didn't.
Yeah.
So the con game, you was doing it, and you were doing it on blacks. Then you mentioned you did it. You stepped up.
Right.
Did other people were there other people that were doing
Yeah.
the con game?
Yeah, they had people doing the con game just like they people that was pimping. Pimping is the oldest game on the planet. And the second oldest game was Kanye.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Right.
I knew about the oldest game with
Yeah.
the pimping.
Pimping, yeah.
And the second oldest game
Is
is the
the con
con
game.
game.
Yeah. And then yeah. Mm-hmm.
So how did it start to change? Like, did you level up? Because I know you said you went from 900, 1,500 to 23,000.
Yeah. Yeah, I leveled up.
So other black. So were you guys? How were you like other people?
They
were doing
had
the
other
con game?
people. They had
Doing
people all over the country that was doing this shit.
Okay.
It was like the drug game now, but it wasn't that many people that was playing the con game. Like they got people selling drugs. You know what I mean? But you had more people than the pimp game, and then when the drugs start being more prevalent, when that crack hit, it killed some of the pimp game, killed some of the con game, because folks start getting into, they start smoking and freebasing, and then it went from the free base to the crack, and it just throw people off the game, So so a lot of people, so people were doing it, and then you had like I ran with a con mob in New York.
A con mob?
Con mob, yeah.
What is that?
Well, there's a bunch of people some people that play the con game, and y'all
In an organized manner.
Huh?
In an organized manner.
In an organized manner, and y'all together, and y'all, y'all swap money. You know what I mean? Y'all kick the game around. In order to make the game more better, you got to do like everything else. You got to talk about it. Just like when you're in business and you got a partner, y'all got to kick it.
Oh wow!
If you don't kick it, it ain't gonna grow. If you just y'all ain't talking, that ain't a good partnership. You know, so
The con mob was for the purpose of, I guess, like even taking it to another level.
yeah.
Y'all got better and better. Y'all
Yeah.
shared
A
stories.
certain crew of them, then that got smaller and smaller, you know, because people start falling off. And then, take this into account, you wasn't a lot of young, when the drugs hit, a lot of, the con game was a thing like was kind of sacred. They didn't talk about that, you know, because you could be, in the con game, you could be broke one day and have no money. Next day, you got 10,000. In the late 60s, early 70s. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, then, you know, the average, you know, then some people start taking the game up to 20, 30, 40, 100, 2, 5, a meal, 3, 4, 5. You know, it went like that with some people. I was in that crew. You know, it went like that.
What was the most money you've ever seen taken in a con game?
From the street game now. I'm not talking about from Wall Street, from white boys. White boys might take 100 million, 600 million. You know, but that's not a street game.
Right.
You know.
Well, in the street game that you might have
Street
been
game.
involved with yourself or close to
Street
people
game.
in the mob, the con mob.
5-6 million from a street game.
Was this all being taken in cash?
$100 bills.
What did you do with the money?
Whatever you want to do.
Where did you hide it? I mean, where did somebody put $5 million,
Well, I mean,
$6 million in cash?
wasn't there many people that had it, but I'm gonna tell you, there's just people that did. You know, they put it safe deposit box, put it in mason jars and dug holes, and you know, hid it. Yeah, that sort of thing. You know.
What was the purpose of going to different places all around the country?
When you're traveling, you broaden your horizon. You know what I mean? You know what's going on over here. You know what's going on over there. So people, depending on what you're doing now, if you travel, the con game was a traveling game.
Okay.
First of all, you know what I'm saying? You want to travel, you know. But people was traveling, you know, in all kind of games. They was traveling. You know what I mean? Yeah.
How do you get someone to give you $100 million? I mean, $1 million or $500,000. You said earlier that when you realized that you didn't have to rob anybody with a gun, you could talk them into it. You got to be a pretty good talker to be able to do that. I think I've never had anybody give me $1 million before.
Well, you got to. It's good talkers, but you got to. All good talkers don't mean they get money.
Right.
You got to know what you're talking about.
What were
See, you could be a
talking
bad talker, but you know what you're talking about. You could stutter and say, did you hear me? You know, I mean, that might be tough, you know, but it's what you're talking about. That's the bottom line. So to answer your question, you said, how do you get somebody?
Yeah.
It's much easier to, well, first of all, you know, it comes with degrees. You know, you don't start off taking $5 million. My first thing that I took was $13.
$13.
$13, but I knew if he had had 13,000, I could have got it because I know how food is.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So that start, you know, escalating as time. You don't just come in. I mean, 97% of the people who was playing the con game in the street, 98% didn't do what I'm talking about now. 98%, 97%.
Well, you were a small percent, one of the best that's ever done it. So
Well,
the guy that
I didn't say I was the best that ever did.
No,
it,
I'm
but,
saying that.
Okay,
I said one of the
I
best.
accept that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, people talk. You know. Your previous reputation years ago precedes you.
Okay.
You took $13 from a guy. Did you ever get, or a person? Did you ever get more money from that particular person? I guess what I'm getting to is, did you start off small with one person and build that person up to more, or did you just start off with anybody and then that lets you know if I can get it from this person, I can get more from someone else?
Yeah. That the latter. Yeah. If I can get it, you know, it let me know that the con game worked. He just happened to have $13. And this was a little black dude. I mean, this is the first time. We just, you know, I heard something, Fat Ron, he's giving me the game in pieces, you know what I mean? Because I had a gambling joint, so he could come over there and make money in my joint. So he gave me the game in pieces, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So after that, you know what I'm saying, things start stepping up, you know, and like I say, when I got to New York, it was a couple of people around here, and this guy that's passed, and he's known in Atlanta, you know, and he's one of my partners. His name was Stelbred. I'm gonna say his name because, you know what I'm saying, he wouldn't mind. He's been gone,
Right.
but he was one of the best too. You know what I'm saying? He was one of the best. You know, I seen him and another guy in New York. They was playing a white woman on 57th Street and Madison Avenue. You know, that's a rich area.
Right.
And when they stopped this white woman and a total stranger, and she got in the car with them, with two black guys, a total stranger, you know, and said, this money is being found here, so and so and so and so, you know. And she got in the car with them, you know, to take that money down to a bank where one of them work at, you know. And they called me to play the phone, you know. And they told me, you know, said, okay, we got a white woman here. And I said to myself, you mean to tell me that a white woman, a stranger, was loading up with two black dudes that she don't know, you know, and they could get her money, and when we got that money, it was on like popcorn from then on. You know what I'm saying? I knew that the girls, you could send some black girls and play white women, but I didn't know white women would go with two black men. That was just, I couldn't imagine that. You know? I'm talking about, this is the early 70s. I mean, I couldn't imagine that. You know?
There was a movie called The Sting.
Right.
Was this anything similar to that?
Yes, something similar to it. The Sting was a con man's picture. It was like The Godfather. How many times have you seen The Godfather?
Numerous times.
Okay. You ask anybody that mess around the street, they say it numerous of times. I've seen The Sting numerous of times. I can tell you where Hollywood made a mistake at. You know what I'm saying? I've seen it numerous of times. It's a con man's picture. Like,
wow.
Like The Godfather was a gangster's picture, you know, of people wanted to be in that sort of thing, you know. Yeah, so, yeah, I seen this thing. Yeah.
Could you tell us about, is there a way to tell us about, for people that haven't seen The Sting, what happened in The Sting and maybe how that might have been similar? I know you don't want to get a whole, I mean, you've been out of it for 30, 40 years now, but I'm just trying to get, to understand what would you tell someone? Is there a scenario that you can give to explain to the viewers, what the hell could you tell someone, a white woman or anyone, that gets in a car with two black men, strangers, make her go into the bank, get a large sum of money, and give it to you?
Sounds amazing, doesn't
it? It really does.
Sounds unbelievable, right?
Unfucking believable.
Yeah, I could imagine. I could imagine. Well, I tell you, it's a dying. It's a dying breed that was coming up. When I came in, I was some of the last dudes that were getting hip to the con game. Most people went to the drug game. See what I'm saying? They left the pimp game, the gambling game, whatever, and they went to the drug game, like in them 67, 68, 69. In New York, maybe like in 65. New York, I mean, they had dope fiends. You were standing in blocks in New York, maybe 100 in one block. Rocking, shit, you know what I mean? What would it take to do that? First of all, it takes you to get to that level. It takes time, it takes patience, it takes focus. You got to be able to concentrate, you know what I mean? And you got to desire that sort of thing. It's just like anything else. If you want to do something, you got to see that in your mind, and you got to eat, sleep, and drink that, And you eat, sleep, and drink something, chances are, for long, you're going to manifest that. It's in your imagination. You see it, You eat, sleep, and you drink it. This is what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? It just you can't get there without dedication. It's like anything else. It's all the same principle. Like motivational speakers say, Les Brown and all the rest of them. It's the same thing. You use your imagination. You got to focus. Affirmations, and you got to eat, sleep. You got to think this thing all the time. And then one day, that thing just pop. You say, "Oh shit, I know how it go now." You know what I'm saying? So it's something that it's like anything else. You have to have a mentor. Somebody got to be mentoring you. Like in the game, see, a lot of times the people in the game today, they just jump in the game. Like a lot of young folks, they just jump in the game. That's why you got a penitentiary full of them. They just jump in the game without learning how the game go. There's a right way to do wrong, but there's no wrong way to do right. If you're gonna do right, you got to do right the right way. Now, if you're gonna do wrong, you can do wrong. It's the right way to do wrong.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you want to last. Now, if you just do it any old kind of way, you're not gonna last.
Right.
You're gonna get your head taken off. Simple as that. And a lot of people just think, they just look at people and they say, okay, this guy here, he pull up in a Mercedes and he's coming out the stock market, and he big businessman. I wish I could be like that. Still, just finding out, what he does. I mean, if you don't mind me asking, what do you do? I mean, what do I need to do to, so and so and so? You got to get a mentor, or it's not gonna happen. I'm not talking about you per se. You already know that.
Right.
But I'm just saying, people, you got to do that.
Was Big Ron your mentor?
Yeah, at first. And then I turned around and mentored him. Okay. That's how they go sometimes.
Right. It goes back and forth.
Yeah, it goes back and forth. And I mean, that's why, you know what I mean? And when you see him, he lived with me 3-4 years. He was down on his luck. Come on, man. It don't be for him. It don't be me.
Right.
So, it's like, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You take the baby out of the bathwater and throw the bathwater out. Put the baby back in and put some more water on it.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah.
So it was a lengthy process? Did it take days or did it take weeks? Because I know You basically said you got to be focused, you got to be dedicated, you got to be disciplined, you got to see it, you got to visualize it. It don't sound like something anybody can do.
Well, it don't sound like something that everybody do. Everybody can do it if they go through that process. But, you know, everybody want to go to heaven, but don't nobody want to die.
Well, let me say it better. It doesn't sound like it's that easy. When I say anybody can't do it, there's a level of dedication and patience, and
Yeah.
I would think.
Well, I mean, and you're true. It's not that easy, but if you follow that, you know, if you follow the principles as to what to do, and you stick with it, you know, sooner or later, you're gonna get it done.
Did Big Ron teach you some of those principles?
Yeah. He taught me some of them. He taught me the basics. But my grandmother was the first one that taught me as a little boy.
Wow.
You know, yeah. She was the first one that taught me.
Con game or con man. Does that stand for? What does that stand for?
Con man?
Yeah. Isn't it short for something?
Con man is a person that, you know, uses his mind to make a living. He tells people certain things. You know, he cons them.
Do people also call that a confidence game?
Confidence game. Confidence game is a particular. You got all kind of con games.
Oh, okay.
You know, confidence game is a particular con game.
Well, I didn't
Then
realize
you got con men that play all of them. He could play anything. You know,
the game y'all was playing, was that a confidence game?
that was a con game, and some of us developed the wherewithal to be a confidence man in that. You know, we
Okay.
learn how to do whatever it took.
Confidence, man. That's
Yeah.
what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And is that because it just?
That's just a
involved
few. That's a few. That's the choice. That's the cream of the crops. You know, from the black side. You know what I mean? Yeah. And see, the con game is what white folks get at to black folks back in the 30s. See, they were beating black people then.
They were the confidence guys. They were the confidence
yeah,
man.
they was playing short con. They was beating black folks with the con game. You know, because when a white man step up and tell you anything, you believe whatever he said.
That ain't just
He didn't have to be a good one.
and that didn't have to be back in the 30s.
No. Right.
Some things never change.
Yeah, you know. So it's just like Trump. Trump is a good confidence man. And I had a friend of mine, he just, man, Trump this and Trump that, and I said, man, how you going to talk about Trump that bad? Trump is a confidence man, you confidence man. What are you saying? You know? But he's a racist. I'm not saying he's not a racist. I don't know if he's a racist or not.
Right.
I'm not saying, but if he's in charge of the resources of America, I think you would have to be very foolish to say, I'm not going to go up there and talk with that man because I don't like Trump.
No question.
I think that's pretty stupid to me. You ain't got to like him or nothing. Say, hey, Trump, look here. What we need, you know, is $100 billion to do such and such, you know, and so on, so on, so on. Whether he give it or not, you got to go talk with him.
That's right.
He said, well, I can't give you 100. Will you take 25 billion? Yeah, I take 25
Right.
and a promise. Maybe you give me a promise or something else. I take the 25. Yeah. You know, how you gonna say, well, I'm not dealing with this man? Get mad if somebody go see him, like when he was the president before. Steve Harvey went to see him. Everybody talk, oh, Steve Harvey went to see Trump. I mean, here's a man in charge of the resources, and you ain't gonna go see him. You
Yeah.
gonna just say, well, I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty ignorant.
Well, I agree. I mean, I guess maybe that's where the saying comes from. Some people will cut off their own nose to spite their
your
face.
Yeah. I think so.
Man got the resources. You got to talk to him.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't take anybody else's word for it anyway. You got to find out who somebody really is. If you got an opportunity to talk to them, you might get a different result than what you expect.
Yeah. Now I got other story. You want? I mean, I don't think.
100%. You got another story?
No, I want a story that how I got out of it.
100%.
This is in and out, right?
Exactly. That's exactly
Okay.
what I was going to ask about.
Yeah. Okay.
So, how long did you do that?
I played the confidence game, man, from 19 years old till I got 62.
So 40-some years.
Yeah. I say 20 years old. 19, 20.
40-some years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why did you stop playing?
To be quite honest, because America had when it got so technological. They when it got so many things that, that would get you, where they could tell what you were doing. I say, I think it's time for me to quit because I don't want to end up in prison the rest of my life. And the last time I got busted, then they gave me 2 felonies. I already had 3. So I got 5 now. They set me up and said, okay, I bought my way out of that. I only get 6-7 months in prison and 18 months on an ankle bracelet. But they said, if we catch this nigga again, because although we just getting him now, I did 5 years, 3 different bits.
Total.
5
Total
years.
of 5 years. Right?
Total of 5 years. That was enough for me.
Right.
Okay?
You got the lesson.
But that last one I seen where they were setting me up, you got 5 felonies on your record, you get caught, you might get 40, 50 years for taking some money.
If you get caught one more time.
Yeah. And I said, shit, I don't want to do that. But I was hooked. Yeah, I'm like a drug addict. You know what I'm saying? I'm hooked to the lifestyle. Anytime a person can have, pocket full of hundreds in this pocket full of hundreds in that pocket full of hundreds back here, pocket full of hundreds back there, and she go in the store, say, give me this, that, and bag it up. How much is it? I pick it up on the way back, and he goes somewhere to another store in the mall. Boop, boop, boop. That's habit forming.
Right. Yeah, I bet it is.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you just can't say, well, I'm gonna quit that shit.
Right.
I've been trying to quit the game 20 years before I got out of it.
Right.
I was trying to quit and do something else, but I just couldn't.
So how did you do it?
Well,
what was your mind? What was your mind frame like? Like the mind change, that had to take place to make you be able to walk away from that type of, because you got the knowledge, right? So you already know you can go out there and you can make it happen if you really want. How hard was that?
Man, it's the hardest thing I ever did in my life. I mean, tell you what happened for me. This is what happened. This is how I got out. I was hooked to cocaine and sex. You know what I'm saying? I associated sex with cocaine. We gonna have some sex? Okay, let me go get some coke. Hold that position right there. Don't go nowhere. You understand? I got.
It was a package deal.
It's a package deal.
Sex and cocaine.
But I got to the point that if I'd have kept sniffing coke at 60 years old, 62 years old, I was gonna have I was gonna blow the top of my head off because I don't even know what they're selling now. It ain't coke. I know it. It's some shit to drive you out of your head, drive you mad. So I went to a program and I got off of drugs. I got a year clean. I didn't have to go play the con game because I had money. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't have to go. I had money. So after I got about 2-3 years with not using no drugs, and it dawned on me. They told me on the drug program, say, if you don't pick the drug up, you won't get high.
Funny how that works.
I didn't know that. I didn't understand that. And it hit me. And then I transferred that over to here. I said, well, if you don't break the law, you won't go to jail. And that's how I got out of it, a day at a time.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it was that was hard to do, man. I mean, people were calling me, you know what I'm saying? You know, women were calling, you know what I'm saying, to do that thing that because they know I could handle it. You know, I could have got 100, 200, 300,000 just playing the phone for 20, 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? And, but I knew if I do it, I wasn't going to stop. They ain't going to say, well, just do it this time and get you $300,000, $400,000 and quit. I don't go like that. One is too many, and 1,000 ain't enough. If I get 1,000 stains, that ain't enough.
Wait a minute, say that again.
One is too many, and 1,000 is not enough.
Wow.
Yeah.
So would you say you even, and I think this is what you said, one of the catalysts for, I mean, obviously the money is addictive, and the lifestyle is addictive, but was it the lifestyle more so than anything else that makes you and probably makes a lot of people do some of the things that they do?
Lifestyle play a big part, sure. Yeah, lifestyle plays a hell of a part for me. I don't know about nobody else, you know, because, I mean, you know, it's not like one size fit all, you know what I mean? Some people may have different strokes for different folks, you know. I'm just talking about me.
Well, now, when you made a determination that you wasn't gonna get high, you was gonna walk away from that lifestyle, and you did that. How did that change your life? How were you able to, you know, what other things did you do to fill that void? Even now, do you feel like you was missing something, or did you come to the realization that you're just as happy or maybe even more happy? I don't know. Speak to someone out there that might be struggling with the same thing. I mean, you seem happy to me. Are you still happy, or what's the deal?
Well, I am more peaceful and happy than I ever been. But now, I haven't had no drugs in 14 years. I haven't broken the law since in 20 years. But I didn't have to.
You didn't have to what?
I didn't have to break the law because I had a few dollars over my lunch money. I had a few dollars, so I didn't have to do that. But when it came time to do that, you know, that I didn't have no money. What was I going to do then? So I didn't break the law. You know, I had a few friends that had money. I had a few lady friends that had money, and they, you know, they helped me out. You know what I mean? And I started writing. You know, right now I just finished a screenplay for a motion picture.
Wow.
Based on my life, called The Pigeon Drop.
The Pigeon Drop?
The Pigeon Drop. Yeah.
I guess we gotta.
It's based on a true story.
Okay.
You know, some things are not true. You know, to protect the innocent and the guilty. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, and you know, and I'm getting ready to write a lot of stuff about. You know, I've been into health too. You know, I was sniffing cocaine and learning about, you know, healthy stuff all the time. You know,
healthy stuff like what?
You know, like how you, you know, what you take when you have this, and you know what you take for arthritis, what you take for this. You know, I've been in that sort of thing. You know, it's like
So you have like natural remedies or
all that
natural
kind of stuff. And
medicinal-
I'm gonna say this to the audience.
Yeah.
You know, just something I learned from Dick Gregory.
From who?
Dick Gregory.
Okay. Wow.
You can eat all the wrong things. You can drink alcohol. You can smoke reefer. You can sniff cocaine. If you keep your colon clean, you can beat out most things. Just keeping your colon clean. Now, how do you do that? Well, you know, I would suggest that you get some natural things. Don't buy stuff out of the drugstore to clean your colon. That's no good for you. You want to get natural things where you can get out of the health food store. You know, get some unprocessed. It's the cheap way out to get some unprocessed bran, BRAN. You know, take a couple tablespoons and some cereal or something like that. You know, long as you just got a lot of fiber in it, you can keep your colon using the bathroom a couple times a day. If you eat a couple times, you use a couple times. Now, you know, if you're constipated, you know, most people don't know that they be constipated. But if you taking the newspaper in the bathroom with you to sit on the stool, you're constipated.
You
when
shouldn't be sitting for that long.
Because when you're not constipated, you're gonna be in and out. You know, you ain't got time to read no newspaper. You know, so you keep your colon clean. That's one thing. Drink a lot of water. You know, those are basic things. Try to eat fresh food. Organic if you can. If not, you know, organic is expensive. You know.
So we can, you know, we're going to be closing out here, but I guess let people know what they could look forward to coming from Tyrone Stephens in the future. I know you got the screenplay. You working on a book?
Yeah. What,
It's the Pigeon Drop, right?
Yeah, they call it Pigeon Drop. Pigeon Drop is a particular con game they played in ancient Babylon.
Oh, wow.
You know,
So you guys did not invent the Pigeon Drop?
No, we didn't invent no con game. It was way back in ancient Babylon.
Ancient Babylon. Who knew?
Yeah. You know, I mean, we took it and improvised it, you know what I mean? But nothing new. There's nothing new up under the sun. So now the question was, what's coming up?
Yeah. What are you doing now?
Well,
you know,
I'm gonna be putting some books out, you know, about my life and what happened, and show people how you can take, you know, the principle out of what I'm saying and apply the principle to anything and get whatever that is that you're trying to get. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know, you can do that. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to be doing, you know. Just, I mean, because if it's anything, I say this here, you know, closing when you get ready. But I say this here, that I'm so fond of this guy over in Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Touré, the youngest president in Africa. And Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger had come together, one country, and shut down all the borders. Everything is one country. Now, that is so huge. That's so big. Because if we come together, black people in the diaspora and in Africa and everywhere else, if we come together, that's our only problem. The rest of it, you know what I'm saying, it's a lay down. I mean, you know, if we come together, you know, and we're going to have to come together. Because so many things going on, they want to cut out your history, they don't want you to know this, they don't want you to know that. You know, it's just a lot of shit going on, man. You know, and we just can't take that, you know, lightly. We have to do something about that. You know, so everybody can contribute something, and that's basically what I want to say. Is any other questions you want?
Appreciate you for coming on, my brother.
Yeah, thank you.
Definitely enjoyed all of it.
Appreciate it.
Tyrone Stephens, In and Out Podcast.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for having me.
No doubt. Thanks for being here.